Okay, so let's get started. It's 11:01 in Eastern Time Zone. I know every one of you might be joining from all around the world. Before we get started, because this whole program is new, I want to give just 1 minute introduction of what TIBCO Pulse is. It's built for you guys, where there is a commitment from all of us to show up every month with a very focused feature session, real use cases, and focus on demo and showing live use cases rather than as less as presentation as possible. And of course, live Q&A. So no marketing stuff. Um, some logistic stuff. Please post your questions not in chat, but Q&A. It's very easier to answer and all that stuff. In chat, it get lost. We have our own TIBCO Pulse channel where we post our recording as soon as it's available. So please subscribe so you don't have to wait for email. This is the new thing. I moved it to the top because sometime at the last we don't have time and not able to get much time to speak about it. So this is what we are trying to create is community spotlight, right? If you are building something cool with TIBCO, not just Flogo or BW or EMS, any products, you can record it. If you guys want to take a quick screenshot, go ahead. But this is small video demo and submit to us at pulse@tibco.com. We will review, and if it get approved, we will post it on YouTube with you tagged inside that. So your LinkedIn profile will be tagged on that video, and your demo video will be featured on TIBCO Pulse channel. So yeah, please go ahead, send it to pulse@tibco.com, and our team will review it. And today's topic is very interesting, as you can see. It's about traditional workflows to building AI agent, mainly using Flogo. This is a confidentiality disclaimer. And this is our today's team. We will have Nikhil, who is our Flogo product manager, and Mark Bloomfield, who is architect, who will be the presenting, I would say demoing most of the stuff. On panel, we have Vijay, who leads our Flogo engineering, Shaileja, who helps us on marketing, and I am your host, Ninad. So with that, you guys should see poll question 1 on your screen right now. And I will hand it over to Nikhil while you guys are voting on the poll question 1. Over to you, Nikhil.
Thanks, Ninad. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes. Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Nikhil Shah. I'm the product manager for Flogo. And let's look at a quick agenda for today. So first, I'll go over what are the Flogo AI capabilities that are available as of today in the product that you can use and build your integration workflows. Right. And then I'll go over the telecom billing and invoice service agent use case. I see majority of the participants are from the telecom domain. So that's the reason I chose this use case. Right. So we'll see how to build this service agent using the agentic AI connector and the MCP connector, wherein as an end user, you can query your billing related questions or you can raise disputes, you can do recharge. So all this can be done in a seamless fashion. And then Mark will give us a live demo on hotel room semantic search using the RAG capabilities. And then at the end, we can take question and answers. But don't wait till the end. If you have any questions, please feel free to post it on the Q&A, as Ninad mentioned, and then we'll address them as and when we get time, right? Okay, so let's look at the Flogo AI capabilities, right? Before that, let me pause a little bit and introduce Flogo, right? So Flogo is the AI fabric of the enterprise world of the TIBCO enterprise suite of products, right? And the reason for that is it is got AI native runtime, So Flogo has got first-class support for MCP, AI agents, A2A protocols, connecting to different LLMs, right? Then it is lightweight and fast because it is built on the Go runtime. Uh, it has got a very tiny footprint and runs from cloud to edge devices. Then you can build a multi-agent orchestration flows with different handoffs to E2A servers or MCP servers, which we'll see in the demo shortly. And you can build enterprise grade system with Flogo, right? Because it has got its own guardrails, PI redaction, or to support JWT scope-based access control in the MCP servers, right? And you can manage and monitor entire execution using the open telemetry. So in short, Flogo turns your integration flows into autonomous agents that reason, decide, and act. And you can visually build using simple drag and drop interface in VS Code, and you can just build once and deploy it anywhere, right? With that, let's look at what are the AI capabilities available as of today. So as I mentioned, Flogo MCP connector is already GA. It's part of the product. And with the help of this, you can expose your existing flows as MCP server tools. You can even build non-TIBCO endpoints as MCP server tools, right? So basically, you can MCPify any endpoint, be it TIBCO endpoint or non-TIBCO endpoint, or if you want to expose a database or any other data sources as MCP server tools, you can easily use the Flogo MCP connector to do that. And Flogo offers security, so you can enable OAuth to support JWT based support. You can give tool based scopes in the MCP server. And Flogo also supports MCP client activity wherein you can invoke external MCP servers. So Flogo provides you the entire MCP ecosystem, be it building MCP servers or invoking external MCP servers. And we do offer advanced primitives like elicitation, sampling, and logging, right? And then next is the agentic AI connector that we'll see in the demo in detail, right? Wherein you can build AI agents with Flogo. You can use it as a trigger or a activity. You can dynamically configure LLM providers or MCP servers at runtime, and it supports A2A protocol, so you can invoke external agents also via the invoke AI agent activity, right? And you can store your conversations. You can customize your guardrails in the agentic AI connector. It's in tech preview, and we would love to hear your feedback once you try it out. And then we have Flogo Design Assistant for improving your developer productivity, wherein you can build Flogo applications from natural language prompts. You can design or build REST services from OpenAPI spec. You can even build MCP server tools from OpenAPI spec, right? And we also provide the skills for this, which is available on the GitHub repo, which I'll show at the end. So these are the three main features available. And we recently published OpenAI RAG extension on our GitHub community, which Mark is going to showcase or demo the RAG capabilities, right? So before moving on to demo, let's talk about what is AI agent, right? So you might have heard of MCP. So MCP is a protocol which lets AI system talk to your enterprise data or backend system, right? But what if you want AI to reason, plan, and act on your behalf and execute multi-step workflows, right? So the problem today is, as a business user, let's say if you want to get answer to one question, right? You need to hop manually between different applications. And today's AI chatbots can only answer; they cannot take action on orchestrate workflows, right? And there are no inbuilt guardrails. So basically, LLMs hallucinate. And that's where the AI agents solve this problem is AI agents reason about your question, your prompt, and based on that, they plan multi-step actions and execute the tools or the context that you have given to that agent, right? So Flogo provides both deterministic flows plus AI-driven reasoning, which helps you build reliable autonomous agents. So let's look at this use case, telecom billing and invoice service agent use case. So assume uh, the persona is a telecom subscriber, right? And I want to know why is my last bill so high, right? Or because of that, I figure out that I was charged for the roaming charge, but I never traveled to that roaming country or destination, right? So I need to file a dispute for that. or if I'm running out of data, I need to recharge a pack, right? So if you see here, all these, some of these are conversational questions, whereas some of these require agents to perform certain actions on the behalf of user. So we'll see how this entire workflow can be built using Flogo within hours, right? So so as a telecom subscriber, I give an actual language prompt in a chatbot interface, and then it is connected to the Flogo agent via the WebSocket or REST protocol. So the request goes to the orchestration agent, which is then connected to the LLM provider, which reasons on the request. It figures out, okay, based on this request, which sub-agent or different A2 agent I need to call. So if I say, why is my billing so high? Why is my bill so high? It goes to the billing inquiry agent and it will find out what is the recent bill for that customer, right? And then it will figure out why it is so high. So it will give all the uh, line items to the user, and then user will figure out, okay, that there is some problem with the bill, please file a dispute. So then it will go to the dispute agent, it will create a ticket, and then it will go to the send email agent to basically send an email. So if you see here, it's not just a conversation. These sub agents need to be called in certain sequence, and that's where the LLM brain comes into picture, the orchestration agent comes into picture, where it calls the respective agents according to the prompts, right? And behind the scenes, these sub agents call your MCP servers or business logic in Flogo, which are connected to your backend systems or different data sources, right? So in short, you basically combine deterministic workflows with the AI-driven reasoning to build the autonomous agents with Flogo, right? Now, let's quickly look at the demo of this one. So this is the chatbot interface that I was talking about, right? And if you see here, it is connected, it is calling a WebSocket URL, which is nothing but the Flogo orchestrator agent, right? So I give this query, why is my bill so high, right? So it will be, call the respective agents, and those agents will call the respective MCP server tools. So it basically gave me, it analyzed your bill is this, and then there is a $45 roaming charge for the Mexico, right? Now I can say I did not travel to Mexico. Please raise a dispute and send me email. Okay. So behind the scenes, it is calling another agent to basically create a dispute. And then once that dispute is created, it will call the send email agent to basically send the email uh, to me, right? So all this is happening behind the scenes. So let's look at, I'll show you. Yeah, so if you see here, it created this dispute ticket with all the details, and then it also sent me an email, right? So if you see here, yeah, so I got the email that your billing dispute has been created so recently. So this is the latest email, right? Yeah, so this is the dispute details and estimate resolution, right? And if we look at how this has been implemented, so you can see in the Flogo app execution, so there are three applications basically. One is a A2A server app, which is actually doing the agentic actions. Like it is filing a billing dispute for the user. It is, if you ask it to recharge a data pack, this recharge agent will take care of that, and send email agent will take care of sending the email. So these, all these domain specific agents are taking some action based on the user prompt. And then these MCP servers are there, which are basically returning the read-only data or certain information, whatever I'm asking. So if I say, uh, give me my payment history, when did I last have done the payment, right? So it will call the MCP server tool. And this AI orchestrator is the main brain. So whenever you send a request from a WebSocket or via chat interface, it goes to this orchestrator agent, and here it decides whether to call a remote A2A server or a agent, or to call the MCP server tool, right? It is this LLM's brain, and you give the system prompt for the workflow that you want to do, right? And here you configure your connection, LLM provider connection, the model that you want to choose, right? So base this AI agent distributes calls these sub agents. So if you see here, the first request goes to the orchestrator flow, right? It decides what to call. So here then it basically, so this it decided that okay, now I need to call the dispute agent, right? So it basically called this dispute agent, and then dispute agent basically queried and created the dispute ticket for that issue, and then it invoked the send email agent to basically send an email, right? So this is how you can see the app execution, the real time how it is being executed, right? And if you notice here, it's very easy to drag and drop or build this entire workflow here, right? Uh, so that's how easy it is to build this whole agentic workflow. And this is just one industry, right? But the pattern is same. So the request comes in, via WebSocket, it calls the orchestrator. Orchestrator either calls the A2A servers or MCP servers, right? And they connect to your backend. So so you can build this pattern across different for your own domain or industry, right? Like banking, financial, utilities, health, pharma, retail, logistics, right? So, and the way to build it is using the skill library, right? So there are skills for this wherein you can just say natural language prompt that build an agentic AI demo for retail banking assistant where customer check balance and transactions and can dispute or discharge or block a card, right? With an email confirmation. So what it will do is the skills will create three application, MCP server application for read only with read only tools. It will create A2A servers which take actions, and then the AI orchestrator which will basically call invoke these tools accordingly, right? And then it will also create a database script and some dummy data for you to test with, right? So basically you describe what needs to be done, like you specify the persona, the data, actions, and the skill owns how to build this entire pattern, right? So it's very easy. Within hours, you can build the entire agentic workflow for your domain industry. And if you are interested in this, probably just send an email to pulse@tipco.com, and we can have a dedicated session with you and build your domain specific agentic use cases with the help of the skills, right? And so we do have published a lot of articles. So you can scan this QR code and it will open a page and it has all the bunch of resources. So we have published a lot of videos around this agentic AI, Flogo Design Assistant, coding agents, right? We have published a lot of blogs around CI/CD pipeline, and also there are training courses available for Flogo. So if you are interested, you can send an email to register@tipco.com and you can get yourself trained on Flogo basics and agentic AI stuff, wherein you will get to practice hands-on labs for all what you have seen here, right? So you can just scan this QR code or open this link. I'll share this link in the chat. Uh, yeah, let's launch the poll question two. Any questions for me before I hand it over to Mark?
So, Nikhil, there is one question in chat. If you want to answer that one.
Sorry, which one?
Logo doesn't need any runtime, only the VS Code plugin is sufficient.
I can
Yeah.
take that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
basically, Logo behind the scene uses Golang. So it is built on top of Golang. So it does need a Golang behind the scene. But the one of the benefit of a Golang is once you build an executable, right? You can just run that executable. You don't need that Go anymore when you run that, whether in the containers, serverless, or any other places where you can run a binary. So the idea behind the Flogo is that you build this, design this in the VS Code, test all these workflows, everything in the VS Code, and then as part of your CI/CD pipelines, you actually build your executables and then container images based on your deployment type and mode, and then deploy them to your platform or TIBCO platform or anywhere you intend to run it. So that's what typically happens behind the scene for Flogo.
Cool. Thank you. And guys, please, if you guys can put it in Q&A section, it will help everyone else as well, right? In chat, all people will not see it. So please put your questions in Q&A section. Over to you,
Yeah,
Mark.
yeah. Just before handing over to Mar, I just want to address one thing. So, if you have a TIBCO platform subscription, you get entitlement for Flogo as well. So, if you go to the downloads portal and TIBCO Flogo, you will be able to download the VS extension or VS Code extension from here, and that you just have to install in VS Code and start building your apps, right? And we have published bunch of applications here, the agentic AI samples across different domains, right? Banking, financial service, insurance domain, healthcare, retail, right? So all these domain specific samples, you can find it here, and you can just play around with it and let us know if you want, if you have any questions, anything, you can send an email to pulse@tipco.com and then we can connect. Yeah, over to you, Mark.
Well, thanks, Nico. Can you hear me okay and see my screen okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Great, fantastic. Okay, so to finish off today's session, we're just going to do a quick demo on a RAG use case, which in this case is like a hotel room semantic search. As part of that, we'll be using Flogo, and we'll also be using the OpenAI platform to handle the RAG services. But some of you may not be quite familiar with what RAG is. So this is a quick introduction, very quick introduction into the concept. Basically, you convert data, textual data or image data into embeddings, which are then stored in the vector store, and those are used to do primarily semantic searches. Okay. Again, we don't really have time to go into the detail, but this is used for like similarity type use cases. So you can use in AI. Obviously, there are many different data sources that you can make available to the agents and the LLMs. But the key thing here is what vector stores allow you to do is this as a similarity approach where you're using the closest match. So it's not a direct match as you're doing the searches. Okay. So the first thing obviously is ingestion. So what happens on ingestion is we pull in data. So these could be documents, like PDF documents, for example, or textual documents, Markdown. Then you generate what's called chunking. Now, this is to make sure that you split up a document so it can fit within the context window of an LLM. It's not always required. Yeah. In this demo today, we don't need to chunk the data because it's too small. And then we will generate embeddings. So an array of vectors is what an embedding is. And then those are stored in a vector database. So TIBCO has a vector database through active spaces. Yeah, so you can create vector stores in there. But like I said, for today's demo, we're going to be using OpenAI as our store. Okay. And then for the searching, now what happens on the searching is so you want to search your database. The first thing that normally happens is you will receive the query. So tell me, I say for example, you had a store of vector documents that were like TIBCO docs. You may want to do a search, for example, to say I would like to know what the latest versions of EMS are. Yeah. But before you can actually run the similarity search against the database, what happens is you have to also convert the text into an embedding, yeah, into a vector array, because that's the bit underneath the covers that you're actually comparing. So it's not like doing a textual search underneath the covers. You'll be using like a stored procedure or a function in the case of active spaces that will do. So there's like cosine similarity searches, and there are a few others. Again, we're not going to go into details of the actual different vector stores because it varies across each one. And today's focus is to show you the OpenAI extensions that we have. And then once you've got the result, typically you can do what's called a re-ranking. This is basically filter out, sort the responses. So this is done by the model again, and the model will re-rank the results from the database into like, oh, this is not relevant, this is relevant, this is. So it depends. Again, lots of different approaches. And again, we're going to keep it high level for today because we've only got a very short period of time just to go through the demo. So for today's demo, I'm going to show you, the first thing I'm going to do is show you a bit of Gen AI, as in, well, I'm not going to, so what happened is I will show you the process flow that we actually use to do this, where what the fictitious hotel wanted to do in this case is, rather than having to write textual descriptions for their website of every hotel room, what they wanted to do was generate them from AI. So they could take a picture of the room and then generate a textual description that can be used to do the searching. So if a customer wants to search for information about particular hotel rooms, they could use that. Or, for example, if we wanted to publish it as part of a PDF document, or as part of a website, or as part of you have booked this room, here is your room description. Okay. And we use the OpenAI response API. That's not included in the set that's currently publicly available on our GitHub. I'll go to that in a minute, but you should be able to use that if you need to. And then the next bit is I will then demonstrate a very simple scenario where we'll be searching for hotel rooms based on a text-based similarity search. Okay, so we have on those who are familiar with the Flogo Enterprise Hub. If you go to the Flogo Enterprise Hub now, you'll be able to see the actual items that I'll be demoing as part of the vector storing and the vector search. So I'm not going to walk you through the vector store today because it will take too long, but I will just show you. But you can see here there is a list of activities. Now, all of these activities were built by Marco Commissaris, who's one of our ATS architects. Yeah, and we will keep updating this. You will see that in the docs we have the use cases on OpenAI that are currently supported and the ones that aren't. So for the creation of the text, the Gen AI use cases, that uses what's called the response API. So that's not quite there yet. We've got it in in POC development underneath the covers, but hopefully we will soon publish that one as well to make that available. But you have other ones there as well. But the key ones here are you have the file upload and the vector store API. So why is this use case, rather than just saying, well, this is not new, being able to search for hotel rooms? Well, one of the goals here is to achieve like a free text guided search approach. Yeah, you've all been using chatbots, you've all been using the approach of searching for things, but rather than the standard, I want to filter out data, and that's very specific data. Maybe I want to open this up, and a customer wants, especially loyalty type use cases, I want to search for a specific hotel room that like may have a particular view, or may suit my needs for the type of business trip that I'm going on, or may suit that I need to go on a family trip. Yeah. So rather than clicking through like 15 different checkboxes, the idea here is you just give a textual description of what I would like, and that textual description is then used in the semantic search to return the results. And you can apply this to many use cases. Here we're doing a hotel search. As I mentioned earlier, you could like load up all of your design documentation, for example, or all of your operation guides into a vector store, and then you could say, oh, well, what are the parameters? What are the memory settings for these that are defined in my design documentation? So you could then go and check them against something else, or tell me what are all the versions of a particular thing, or tell me what are the operating instructions to work with a certain application, as an example. Yeah. Or do we have any APIs that perform this function? Yeah, all human but that you won't have that in the LLM, of course. And to make that as convert structured data into free text is a little bit hard. So these are the type of use cases that we're talking about here. So with the OpenAI, it's slightly different approach from a process perspective than I said before. OpenAI has the concept of a vector store, but you don't need to do any of the embeddings or the splitting. That's all done for you underneath the covers by the OpenAI platform. So those who've maybe played with this already, you might have done it with Python, or you might have done it with other tooling. The idea here is that in our ingestion approach, well, all we need to do is, first of all, we use the Flogo file polar trigger. We then call the response API to get a description of that. So you call the underneath the covers, the LLM will analyze the image. It will then generate the image description. And in this instance, because OpenAI only with their vector stores only works with files, then what we will need to do is we create a local file for that textual description, and then that textual description is then loaded up into the vector store using the file upload API. So when we use the file upload API, one of the options in the file upload API is a vector store key, and then that automatically underneath the covers when the file is uploaded. So in my case, I'm loading text documents, but it could be PDF, it could be markdown documents. That will automatically detect if it needs to chunk the documents, and then it will actually create the embeddings in the vector store. So that's all completely hidden for you underneath the covers, which makes this approach quite a nice approach. If you're very new to the topic and you want to do some very quick POCs, you have the OpenAI platform that's publicly available, and like I said, you can use the extension, so you can get up and running very quickly, just to try out, just to see, just to get a feel of whether it works or not. Okay, and again, some of these APIs that we have, if you've got an OpenAI compatible platform, then they are interchangeable. So some of the other ones that not every platform supports every feature of OpenAI. But again, some of them, like some of the Azure APIs, you would be able to use those. So for the search, it's again very simple. We will have an API or MCP server. You then do the similarity search. So there is an API to do a vector search, in OpenAI speak. You call that will do the underlying bit again. So that will embed the text that you're sending. So the OpenAI platform underneath the covers will convert that into an embedding, and then we'll run the vector search for you, and we'll run any particular re-ranking depending on the settings. Then you pass that back. You may want to do a bit of enrichment or conversion of the data. So again, that's where Flogo can come in. Maybe, for example, here I've kept it very simple that I'm just cutting out a bit of the extra data. But in the real world, I would call, for example, maybe a more structured database to pull back specific database or specific things, or maybe the current pricing. So that would be where you would do the enrichment, and then you would return the results. Again, this could be done via an API, so it doesn't have to be done via chatbot. You could just plug this into just a standard API, or you can plug it into the whole chatbot experience as well. Here's just a quick view of the architecture. As I mentioned before, you've got your local file store where we've got the photos and the catalogs. We've got the ingestion app that is loading the data. I'm not going to go through that today again because it would take too long. But again, that goes through the process. And then what I'm going to use is a chatbot, which is provided by OpenWeb UI. Again, a very nice tool to be able to do POCs with. You can tune it, you can link it to other sources, for example. And then you can use the agent, which is within Flogo. So I have a very simple agent for this demo that's then going to call an MCP server. And that MCP server underneath the covers is going to call the searching and to do the enriching underneath it. And again, I could have called APIs, I could have done it, but for the simple case here, I'm calling the OpenAI platform, and that will then be event. And for this demo, what the agent is using, I'm also using OpenAI. So I could have used Olama, I could have used other providers to run the actual run the executions in this demo. What will be happening is I'll be using this GPT 5.6 model. Again, that's up to you, but you specify that in the agent configuration. Okay, so if we just come off the slides. Let's move this to here. So just very quickly, because we don't have much time, I'll just quickly show you these are the processes. So I have them running here on my laptop. Yeah, you can see this is the underlying ingestion. Again, I won't be showing it, but you can see it here. That's where it runs it through. And you can see here, this is where we're using the file upload to run. This is, if you would be able to see that in your activities. Yeah, so if I go to OpenAI, just gone past it maybe. It's too many. Yeah. So here you go. And that's what I was. So these are the activities that you'll be able to use so even we've got an image creation. So if you want to have a bit of fun and or you want to do some, if you've got a use case where you may want to generate images based on particular use case, then you can use them. Again, these are all supported by on the OpenAI platform or compatible platforms that support it. But as I mentioned, this is going through there. This is a very simple MCP server. Again, nothing too complicated for this demo. As you can see here, this is my activity. All I need to do is specify the OpenAI URL and the key. Yeah, and then you've got it in here. I've got my vector store ID, which is coming from an application variable, and then just the search string that is passed through to the MCP configuration. Yeah. And again, finally, my agent is very simple for this use case because the idea was to show you the RAG data. You can see here, I'm using this. It's called OpenAI Llama, but underneath the covers, this is actually OpenAI as a configuration. For those that aren't familiar with Llama, you can actually use that on your laptop because it also exposes an OpenAI interface. So if you don't want to be paying for a lot of things, you can use Llama on your desktop with the OpenAI function, and then you can do a bit underneath the covers. And then again, we've got just the configuration, and I've got here just again a very small system prompt, again just keeping it simple for the purposes of this demo. So if I know so that we stay on track for time. So this is my agent. I just go to a new chat. So let's just make sure I can communicate with the agent. So I just ask it what can you do? So this is just making sure that underneath the covers that it's talking to the agent, and you can see here it's returned back that I'm Alfred. I'm a hotel concierge, and my job in life is to book hotels. I did ask it earlier if it knew any other Alfreds, hoping it was going to answer yes. I know Alfred from Batman, but unfortunately it stuck to its swim lane, and it only responded that I can only help you with hotel bookings, which was a bit disappointing. So here I go. So again, I'm just using this so that we don't produce, it will create a chat. So it will ask me for additional details, but I don't want to do that because we don't have enough time. So I'm just going to ask it here. I want to, without asking for any additional details, just find me a hotel that's suitable for a business trip. So again, this is semantic. So the bit that's going to go through to all the searching, yeah, is the model is going to send it through here, and you can see here the agent has responded. Yeah, I recommend this hotel with this room number. Yeah, and it's given the specific things about this hotel room. Yeah. And then it's got maybe additional information around the room that's being added to the overall search. Here's another very nice quick example. So we're now going to say, right, so business trip, let's try a family trip. So we would expect it to come back with a different type of room, maybe with multiple bed options, for example. In this, you can see here, this room, T106, it's got 3 beds, yeah, it's spacious, etc. And then finally, let me just see this one, and this last one typically shows the power of semantic search. So unlike where you're doing exact searches, yeah, the idea here is I've asked for a nice view of a park. Well, what happens if there isn't any views of a park, for example? So you can see here that it's actually come back and it says, well, I haven't got a park, but I've got a serene garden. Yeah. And the reason for that is that Park, from a semantic association perspective, is close to it, so it's brought back the nearest results. Yeah. So again, it's not the exact result, but you've actually said that, well, you've got a nice garden. Maybe you would like to use that room instead, because we don't actually have any rooms with a park. So maybe a serene garden instead. Okay, so I think we're on time there. So I guess I will pass back to Nina.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Uh, Let me start. Okay, guys. For next session in September, we are going to touch into our messaging side of the products. So next generation AI-driven monitoring for TIBCO messaging, James and graphical rendezvous. So that would be the session. I know this is very interesting one, and I hope we see all of you. So let's dive into question and answers. So panelist, first question is about MCP makes different tools accessible to an AI agent. How does the agent decide which tool to use for a particular task?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so typically, right? Yeah, I can take that up. So basically, any MCP tool, right, for any agent, not only Flogo, typically the metadata about the tool, right, like what tool name and the description, right, it makes a lot of difference. How the tool is being identified for a particular uh, user prompt or the query, right, that is being coming in. So basically, what typical AI LLMs does, right? They actually gather all these tools, their metadata, and then they try to do the semantic search on those and find out the closest ones, the matching ones for the upcoming or incoming query. And accordingly, they decide which tools to be called, right? By mapping the values, the parameters for the tools from the incoming prompt or query. So it is best typically based on the tool's name and the tool's description.
Cool. Someone raised a hand. Nihit. Okay, if you raised a hand to say something, if you can put it in chat or something, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think he put a question in the chat. And if our
uh,
strategic direction is API plus MCP as the
okay.
government integration layer for AI agents, where exactly would you position Flogo in that architecture, and what would Flogo provide that our existing integration
Existing.
platform do not? Okay, so with Flogo, it's not just AI agent builder, right? So you can build your integration flows, you can build the REST services from APIs, right? With Flogo, event-driven applications as well as MCP server. So Flogo can act as your integration layer as well as the agentic layer, right? And you can deploy all these applications into TIBCO platform, and where you can manage and monitor the Flogo, different Flogo applications.
Perfect. And guys, I know it's time, so we are going to go through all the question and answer. So it will be in recording just in case for attendees. We wanted to be respectful. So if you guys have some other meeting or something, go ahead. But we will go through all the questions and answers. So in recording, if we missed any question right now, you will get it. So next one is we are already using Python for agent creation in our org. How can Flogo add value to our existing approach?
Yeah. So, yeah, I can agree. But if you look at the benefits of Flogo, right? So since it is based on Go, so you get lightweight integration, you get faster startup time, low memory footprint, and with Flogo you can build visual flows, right? Visual applications. With Python, you can just build 10,000 lines of code, but it's very difficult to basically manage and monitor. You need to build your own deployment pipeline. You need to build your own observability stack, right? With Python-based application, but with Flogo, you get a visual result. So you just describe in natural language prompt, and it helps you build the entire Flogo application, the agentic AI application, and you can deploy it to TIBCO platform, which helps you manage, monitor, right? You don't have to build all those observability and management and monitoring stacks. So that's the benefit of using Flogo. So you can use Python for POCs, research work, but for enterprise grade systems where you need guardrails and PI redaction, data redaction, the authentication and security, I think that's where Flogo makes a difference.
Okay, cool. Thank you. We are a long-time BW user. Can we leverage Flogo's agentic capabilities with our existing BW apps?
Yes, yes, that's exactly what you can do. So I just want to share one slide on that one. So if
Sure.
you
I can stop
see the
sharing if you are
share,
sharing, Nikhil.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, both BW and Flogo are better together products. It's not like using one, you are going to replace other one, right? And both are available on TIBCO platform, right? So whatever you have implemented in BW, it stays where it is, right? You don't have to rewrite anything. With Flogo, you can build a modern API and agentic layer. And with the help of both this product, you can build the complete integration solution on TIBCO platform, which is already in your license, right? So there are various use cases. Like I mentioned, you can expose BW's REST and SOAP as MCP server tools, and Flogo can act as a agentic orchestration layer, and it can invoke those BW REST and SOAP services as MCP tools, right? So this way, you don't have to rewrite any of your business logic or any of your services. You can very easily build the agentic layer around that, right? And same thing in Flogo, you can build any endpoint. You can build a modern API facades with Flogo, right? Where BW can talk to your legacy backend systems. Flogo exposes via REST, GraphQL, or gRPC, right? So these are various use cases where you can use both Flogo and BW together. You don't have to rip and replace your existing investments.
Perfect. So next one is how does the AI orchestrator differentiate between a routine billing inquiry and a formal dispute request? Specifically, does it rely on simple keyword matching within the user's input, or does it utilize semantic intent classification and contextual entity extraction to determine the routine destination?
Yeah, so these agents or sub-agents have system prompts where we instruct that what that agent is supposed to do, right? And the orchestration agent also has a knowledge of what these sub-agents are doing, right? So based on that description, it's a LLM brain that reads the description of each tool, and then it redirects, it calls those agents accordingly. So that it's very important for you to describe each tool very accurately what it does, so that LLM can redirect and call each agent or MCP tool according to the user prompt.
Okay, and I want to mention one thing, guys. If what Nikhil showed on the skills and developing the AI agent, if you have any idea in your mind and want to do it, you can always reach out to pulse@tipco.com if you need some help. Um, and we will be happy to guide you guys. Um, so next one is if one want it alongside LangChain, what would be the way to do it? If
Vijay, do you
we
want to take
Yeah,
this?
so basically LangChain, right? You use that as one of the framework to build your agent. So treat this as actually a framework to kind of build an agent or set of agents. So obviously it's your choice. If you there is no real comparison. It's like choosing between the technologies, right? To build your agent. Either you use uh, Python-based SDKs versus Golang-based SDKs and the frameworks, right? To build your agent. We offer low code, visual way of designing your applications, and quickly you can test them in the VS Code. So we are trying to build whole VS Code native experience in with the Flogo. So it can be treated as like an alternative to the LangChain. But that's what I could say at this point.
Thank you, Vijay. The next one, how to evaluate our BWC workload are better suited with BusinessWorks or Flogo. Next in that question is also when to choose Flogo versus BusinessWorks, and is Flogo supported with MS SQL database? bunch of questions together.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, right, if you want to talk to your legacy systems like mainframes and B2B, and if your systems are heavily based on SOAP and XML, you will use BW. Whereas for modern agentic workflows, building MCP servers or pass-through REST APIs, GraphQL REST services, you can use Flogo for that, right? And if you want additional information, we can have a separate deep dive discussion on your use cases, and we can work with you on which product is suitable for your use case, right? So please feel free to send an email to pulse@tipco.com, and we'll take it forward from there. Yeah.
Next one is where is it? Yeah, is it possible to have human in middle if AI agent is not sure about the next step, and also in case we need the approval from human?
Yeah, so we have that elicitation activity, right? So you can add that elicitation activity which ask additional questions, or probably you can have in the system prompt itself that in this workflow, make sure you ask this follow-up question. Like it says, I filed a dispute. Do you want me to send an email, right? So it is asking me, should I send an email? So those kind of prompts you can define in the orchestrator agent or your agents, right? So you can add those kind of rules in the agents.
Perfect. How does it fit on-prem BW ecosystem? So similar, right? We already answered
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And
Flogo can
guys,
be deployed on-prem as well. Yeah, just one thing to add there. Yeah, go ahead.
okay. So TIBCO Flogo, will it support and I'm assuming it's Windows Server 2022 server.
I guess you should be able to. You mean Flogo apps deployed to Windows Server? I guess that should be possible as of today.
And guys, questions are keep coming. We might have to stop at some time, but we can go as much as at least for next 7 minutes. Do you have any documentation on how Flogo can help in TIBCO EDI Business Connect?
Mm, I didn't get that question. So you want to connect to the EDI BC
I think so,
from?
yeah. BC Business Connect EDI.
Okay. Mm, so what you can do is you can build MCP servers in Flogo which talk to your BC APIs, right? So that way you can build a wrapper around it. That is one way how Flogo can talk to your BC systems, right? And but yeah, I would like to know more on the use case. Maybe just send an email.
Can we get slides and access the slide of the current call? Um, I, I think, Nikhil, there is nothing. Uh,
Recording they are going to share, right? So
yeah,
eventually they know what was being shown in the recording. Nina, you will post right on the
yeah.
YouTube.
So recording will go on the channel, but if you guys need slide for showing it internal to your leadership or something like that, please reach out to pulse@tipco.com and we can take it from there. How can we share, or if we can share anything? How does Flogo decide or manage orchestration between deterministic integration steps and agentic AI steps within the same flow?
Mm, Vijay, do you want to take that?
Vijay, you
I
are
think
on
Vijay.
mute. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, it is again, right? Depending upon the how LLM identifies the right tool, right? And as I said, if the tools are clashing, I assume they all intent the same task, right? So it is all about how LLM identifies the intent for a given tool, right? So if the tool description, it's very unlikely that you would have two tools with a probably same name, but with the different description. If they are, you are saying they have a same description, then then I guess the result would be undeterministic. It is up to the LLM to pick the tool which it believes matches the best, right, for a given task.
Okay. Thanks, Vijay. There is one question around BPME. Does it work? Does it work well next to TIBCO BPME? Any use case tested around it? Do we have any use case? And again, for such question, I
Yeah.
would advise to reach out pulse@tipco.com.
Yeah.
It will help us to go deeper and more focused on it. And Srikant, your question about AI feature in TIBCO BW6 CE. Yes, we are releasing a lot of feature there as well, but this team is more focused on Flogo. So if you have specific ask or question, please reach out at pulse@tipco.com and we will take it from there. Okay, with that, we are way past our time, but thank you very much for everyone joining. And as always, keep your finger on the pulse and see you next month. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Right.